Leeds United right at the start of this second half now.
Just 3 more games to go at the end of another exhausting championship campaign. West Brom and Brentford breathing down our necks. Every point we got is vital.
Swansea have got to get those men back.
The clock ticks down. 60th minute, 70th minute, 80th minute. We've seen it all before. We throw away points here, West Brom win, Brentford win, and our dreams come crumbling down in front of our eyes. And there's nothing we can do about it. Rendered helpless, praying for an answer.
There's an overlapping run from Elland, and Elland gets the ball.
Up steps El Mago.
And it comes for Pablo Hernández.
Pablo Hernández, the resurrector of Leeds United, the resurrector of life. The man who single-handedly saved our club.
The box, and it comes for Pablo Hernández, and Pablo Hernández scores a goal for Leeds United. Oh! Goal! Hernández!
Pablo Hernández and Gaetano Berardi, you will be sorely missed. And on behalf of every Leeds United fan who's ever walked the face of this earth, who's ever taken a single breath, thank you. Thanks for all the memories, and thanks for every single blood, sweat and tear you have given to this club. We will be eternally grateful for your service. Best of luck, lads. Hey guys, it's your boy JT and welcome back to another video, and of course it is time, the final game of the Premier League season, the final game of our first year back in the big time. As always, if you do end up enjoying the video, then a like would always be appreciated, but let's not waste any more time. Let's get straight into the meat of the action. It is that time. It is West Bromwich Albion time, and finally we will be able to make our voices heard, make our presence heard and noticed, because for the first time this season, Elland Road will be able to welcome back its famous, faithful fans. And what a day it's gonna be. I, unlike many others, were unfortunately not lucky enough to be able to secure themselves a ticket because, of course, it is only a 10,000 capacity allowed into the stadium. So, obviously, demand was very, very tight. But what I will say to anyone that was lucky enough to get a ticket, first of all, congratulations. I really hope you enjoy your day. I'm a bit gutted that I'm not in your position, but I hope you make your voice heard for me. I hope you have a drink for me and for every fan that couldn't make it. But most importantly, you have a job to do if you are there. You have a very, very important job to do if you have secured tickets to this game, and you make your voices heard. And you make sure Pablo Hernández and Gaetano Berardi understand how much they will be missed. Understand how much they will be loved forever at this club. Give them the send-off that they truly deserve. Pablo Hernández, one of those most majestic players I've ever seen play for Leeds United. Pontus Jansson said it himself, the best man he's ever played with, the best player he's ever played with in his career. Pablo Hernández came to Leeds at a time when we had nobody, we had nothing, we had no player that made you get off the edge of your seat, the player that makes you feel the emotions of the game, that gives you that spine-tingling feeling of excitement every time he touches the ball, the feeling of not knowing what he's going to do next, waiting with bated breath and anticipation for the ball he's about to play, for the strike he's about to unleash. He's unpredictable in nature, he's classy in nature, and he's one of the most elegant players one of the most elegant, caressing touches of the ball you will ever see. And he came to us when we had nothing. And he stayed, and he stayed, and he worked his arse off to get us back up to the promised land, to get us up to a place where we could buy players of his ilk, of his class, of his stature. And if he was 10 years younger, he would be taking this Premier League by storm. I can guarantee you. I can guarantee it. The guy is a legend. And you better make sure that you're there, giving him the send-off he deserves. As for Berardi, I mean, what a warrior. An animal. Someone who left blood, sweat and tears on the pitch every time he played. A red card specialist, yeah? Have you ever heard of a player that speciality is getting sent off? Is hacking players down, is injuring them? And you think that's detrimental to your team. But you certainly don't know Gaetano Berardi then. Because that guy is very different kind of club legend to Pablo Hernández. But a club legend nonetheless. A real cult hero within the fans. A guy who really got what it was to be Leeds United. A guy who bought into the philosophy of the club. Who woven himself into the very fabric and nature of the club. A man who was basically the 12th fan playing on the pitch himself. A man that would die for the shirt. A man that would die for the club, for the game, for the squad. He would put his body and his heart and his soul on the line. And these are the type of characters we're unfortunately going to have to say bye to. But you know, sometimes in life, you have to let go of the things you love the most. You have to say goodbye at some point. And this is just one of those examples. But as for the game, it is West Bromwich Albion, already relegated West Bromwich Albion, and a game we should be winning. We don't really have too much to fight for because unfortunately West Ham did pick up a win the other day. Therefore we cannot really feasibly get 7th. We could technically manage to wrangle our way into 7th position, but it would require Tottenham to lose about 10-0 and us to win about 8-0, and then Everton and Arsenal also to lose. What we do have to play for is that we could potentially finish 8th. If Everton and Arsenal drop points and we win, boom, we're in 8th. And how brilliant would it to be able to say that we finished above Arsenal? I mean, that would be fantastic, personally. You know, I've got a lot of friends that are Arsenal fans and I'd love to mug them off with it. But generally, 8th position, anywhere from 10th to 8th realistically in our first season back, is amazing. This is not going to be no easy game. Just because there's nothing really to play for. Just because West Brom are already relegated. This is Sam Allardyce. And if there's anything Sam Allardyce likes to do, it's to spoil the party. It's to cause disruption, cause mayhem. And if he can have the last laugh by stopping us from winning, by stopping us from ending the season on a high, that will make his day, that will make his week, that will make his month. This is the type of character he is. This is the type of philosophy he embeds into his teams. And this is what we have to prevent at all costs. And the men, the very men which are going to prevent that from happening are as follows. My predicted 1 to 11 is going to be a very unique one this time. Very different to every other 1 to 11 I have given. Because of course we have players away on international duty. Players that are likely not to play for the rest of the season. And because it is a very special day. It is the last day of the season. And it's time to give game time to some players who wouldn't have necessarily got so much game time before. And in goal, I will be going with Kiko Casilla. For if nothing less than to fulfill the chant just one more time. If we've got Pablo Hernández on the pitch and we've got Kiko Casilla, that fateful chant that encapsulates both players, the chant that was ringing round Elland Road last year in the Championship. And for what he has done, look, he doesn't fill me with confidence. He doesn't fill a lot of the players with confidence. And he's made his mistakes. He's cocked up a fair few times in the past. But he's also given us some great memories. He's also contributed to getting us into the Premier League. And who knows how much longer he's going to be here for. I mean, I remember vividly that game against Hull last year. Where he clawed the ball off the line. An absolutely fantastic last-ditch save. Flings it out to Klitsch. Klitsch bombs down the line. Crosses it across. Bamford hits the post and then Alioski scores. Puts us 1-0 up. I remember these kind of images vividly of him turning to the south stand, celebrating with the fans, the emotion that we felt, the connection I felt with him. Yes, he's a bit of a plank at times. Yes, he can be an idiot on and off the pitch at times. But that doesn't change what he's done for this club. And I know he hasn't been necessarily one of our most crazily influential players, but he's still done his part. And for that, I'd like to see him get a game time and get a chance to play in front of those fans for potentially the last time in his career. In the back four. I never thought I'd be saying this year in the Premier League, but the centre-back partnership, the first centre-back, the first name on that team sheet for me is Gaetano Berardi. How brilliant was it to see him play against Southampton? How brilliant is it to see him get his shot in the Premier League? How brilliant is it to just see him on the pitch as well? He exudes passion, he exudes confidence, he exudes fight, determination, grit, hunger. Everything you want to see as a fan of Leeds United, everything you want to see as a fan of football for your club is exactly what Gaetano Berardi produces. And it will be an absolute pleasure to see him line up one last time. And he will start in that centre-back position. Of course, there will be no Diego Llorente. There will be no Robin Koch. Both, Llorente's out for injury, I believe, and Robin Koch is out on international duty. So for me, I think you have to partner him with the main man, super duper Liam Cooper. Another legend of the club, Captain Coops. What a partnership it would be to see Berardi and Cooper line up together for just one last time. At left back, another player who probably isn't getting the plaudits he deserves. Another player who may go forgotten a bit in this game, because yes, he's played a lot more than other players that are leaving this year, and yes, he may potentially be going to the enemy in the summer. But it is Edžgan Alioski, another legend of the club. Another player that has brought me so many happy memories. How many thunderous goals has he scored? How many beauties have we seen him score? That goal against Huddersfield last year where he rocketed it with his left foot into the bottom corner. The goal against West Brom this year. The goal against West Brom the year before when we were in the Championship. He scored important goals, he scored beautiful goals, and not only that, he is an absolute shithouse. Someone who gets opposition players riled up, someone who gets you enjoying different aspects of the game. He doesn't make you love the game the way Pablo Hernández does, with his silky play on the ball, but off the ball, and all the other emotions around football. The little bit of time wasting, the little bit of showboating, the little bit of annoying opposition fans, of taunting them, of taunting opposition players. The other aspects of emotive language that we all buy into as a fan, as a philosophy of football. He displays that perfectly. He displays it absolutely perfectly. So if this is also his last game, I hope he gets the send-off he deserves. And I hope everyone that played a part in getting us up to the Premier League gets that send-off. And for me, he has to play left back. Over at right back, of course, it is going to be Luke Ayling, another absolute legend of the club nonetheless. But Luke Ayling has to play right back for me. Maybe you could say you could give Cody Drama a game because there's not too much on the line. But Luke Ayling has to play for me. I don't see him throwing Drama in this early, this soon. I see him giving him maybe another year in the youth development team, maybe loaning him out, and then potentially bringing him in and shielding under Ayling and getting a bit of a style, a bit of confidence from him, learning off him, should I say. So for me, I feel like Luke Ayling is going to start at right back. In the holding midfield role, of course, it is going to be Calvin Phillips. No questions asked about that. Again, potentially, you could give Shackleton a game, but I don't see it happening. I see Calvin Phillips getting some minutes under his belt, getting himself warmed up for the Euro 2021 tournament, which he has to start in. Over on the left, it has to be a man who has been very, very impressive as of late. A man who has been unstoppable recently. His form has just picked up higher and higher and higher, and we have to sign him this year. We've pissed around for the past 2 years, extending the loan. This year, we have to trigger it. We have to trigger the clause, and we have to purchase him for what I believe will be £12 million. An absolute coup by all accounts, and it is Jack Harrison. And then the midfield two, I am of course going to go with Stewie Dallas, and Mateus Klitsch will not be playing as a result of this. So part of me wants to put Roberts in there, But I can't not put in Rodrigo. Rodrigo himself has been class recently. He's been quality. So for me, I'm still going to go with Tyler Roberts. He scored his first Premier League goal on the weekend. You can't drop him after he's just done that. Sure, it was a bit of a questionable goal. The ball should have gone to the back of the net about 5 times before he did end up scoring. But he still scored his first Premier League goal. So for me, Tyler Roberts has to go in there. On the right, of course, Rafinha Belotti, just for the fact that the fans deserve to see this man in the flesh. This guy deserves to see how loved he will be in the flesh, and how brilliant would it be to see him in person lining up. Because when you watch a player in person, it's very different to watching it on the TV. Very, very different. You get to see more facets of the game, more assets of the game, and the way they play. So for me, being able to see Rafinha in the flesh will be an absolute privilege and an honour for many people out there. And I've just remembered something, and I'm a massive, massive fraud. So let me just switch up that midfield 2 I put in there. I made a severe and continuous lapse of judgment there, and Stewie Dallas has to come out of the team for me. He's been fantastic this year, but he has to come out of the team. And Pablo Hernández has to start there. He has to play the entire 90 minutes for me. He has to start in that midfield position. You could potentially say you put him out right in Rafinha's position, but I want to see people get the chance to see Rafinha play in the flesh. So I do want to put Pablo Hernández in that midfield role. You could arguably say that Dallas should go in for Roberts, and whichever one out of those 2 you want to play, I wouldn't really have any qualms with. But what I would say is Pablo has to be in that too. And then up front, of course, is going to be the main man, Patrick Bamford. What a season he's had. What an absolutely phenomenal season he's had. Can he continue his rich vein of form? Potentially get him 2 or 3 goals to further extend himself as the highest goal-scoring Englishman aside from Harry Kane in the Premier League, and potentially secure himself a seat on that plane to the Euros. That is my team, guys. What is your team? What do you guys think of Pablo Hernández? What do you think of Gaetano Berardi, Edgar Alioski, and all these potential legends that are leaving the club this summer? I'd love to hear what you guys have to say on the whole matter. I do thank you guys ever so much for watching. I'm apologising in advance that I will not be able to stream tomorrow because I will be going to Leeds to watch the game. But nonetheless, guys, I hope you do enjoy the video. I hope you do enjoy the rest of your week, and I'll be back in a couple of days to go through the remaining, well, not the remaining, to go through that fixture, go through everything that happened in the game and everything going forward into next season. If you did enjoy the video, then a like would always be appreciated. But for now, guys, I'll see you in the next one.